From a regular high school kid to one of the most controversial figures in the fitness world, Togi's journey has been anything but ordinary. With a physique that exploded seemingly overnight, and a social media presence that stirs both admiration and outrage, how did Togi go from obscurity to becoming a polarizing force in the industry? Togi's fitness journey really kicked off in high school when his basketball coach casually mentioned that he was too skinny and needed to bulk up to excel on the court. What seemed like offhand advice struck a chord with Togi. He hit the gym, initially just to improve his game, but soon found himself drawn into the world of fitness. Lifting weights became more than just a means to get better at basketball. It became a passion. Togi wasn't just aiming to be fit anymore, he wanted to be the strongest version of himself. This drive to transform his body set the stage for everything that followed, changing not only his physique, but his entire life. He started out like many aspiring fitness enthusiasts by sharing his journey online, hoping to inspire others and maybe make a name for himself. His early content was a mix of humorous gym videos and straightforward fitness advice. Togi knew he had to stand out, so he tried to bring a fresh, comedic twist to the typical workout content. Imagine him lifting weights one moment and then cutting to a funny clip from Fortnite. It was his way of making fitness fun and relatable. His videos were lighthearted, often showing his own transformation and offering basic tips to those who were just starting out. It was all about building a small community and sharing his passion for fitness. Togi's journey took a dramatic turn in early 2023 when he made the controversial decision to start using steroids. After a lot of internal debate, Togi decided to take the plunge. He figured that if he was serious about standing out in the ultra-competitive world of fitness, he needed something more. A shortcut to the size and definition that would set him apart. Steroids, with all their risks and rewards, seemed like the answer. The change in Togi's physique was almost immediate and pretty shocking. His muscles were bigger and more defined, and suddenly, he looked like someone who could command attention in any gym. But it wasn't just his body that transformed, his entire approach to content did too. Togi started leaning into his new image, crafting a persona that was bold, unfiltered, and at times, downright provocative. He didn't just talk about fitness anymore, he openly discussed his steroid use, even promoting it as a valid option for those looking to get serious results. This raw honesty combined with his new enhanced look drew people in. His follower count skyrocketed as more and more people tuned in, either to admire his physique, to be shocked by his openness, or to criticize his methods. However, this new path also attracted a fair share of controversy. While some praised him for his transparency, others slammed him for glorifying steroid use and setting a dangerous example for his audience. Togi's content became a lightning rod for debate within the fitness community, but whether you loved him or hated him, you couldn't ignore him. Togi's decision to openly promote steroid use was like lighting a match in a room full of fireworks. It was bound to explode. On one hand, his honesty earned him a massive following. People were drawn to his raw, unfiltered approach where he didn't sugarcoat the realities of steroid use. He talked about it openly, discussing not just the benefits but also the side effects, and this kind of transparency was something rare in the fitness world. Many admired him for it, seeing him as someone who was cutting through the BS and telling it like it is. His following on platforms like TikTok and Instagram grew exponentially as more people tuned in to see what he would say next. But not everyone was impressed, especially one prominent figure in the fitness community, Greg Doucette. The backlash against Togi reached a fever pitch when Greg Doucette, a well-known fitness influencer and outspoken critic of steroid use, took aim at Togi's content. Greg accused Togi of glorifying steroid use and promoting dangerous behavior, particularly to younger audiences who might not fully grasp the risks involved. The feud quickly escalated on TikTok, with Greg's response videos calling out Togi's approach and warning viewers about the potential dangers of following in his footsteps. The clash between Togi and Greg became a hotbed of controversy, dividing the fitness community. Critics lined up behind Greg, condemning Togi for what they saw as irresponsible and reckless behavior. They argued that Togi was setting a harmful example, especially for impressionable followers who might be swayed by his seemingly glamorous portrayal of steroid use. The comment sections of Togi's videos turned into a battlefield, with fans either passionately defending him or siding with Greg and attacking Togi's stance. So how did Togi respond to all this? Instead of backing down, Togi went on the offensive. Rather than softening his message or shying away from the controversy, he leaned even harder. Togi began directly addressing Greg Doucette in his videos, dismissing Greg's criticisms as out of touch and hypocritical. He accused Greg and other natural fitness influencers of misleading their audiences by promoting a drug-free lifestyle while, in Togi's view, failing to achieve the same level of results that steroids could provide. Togi's content became increasingly proactive and unapologetically supportive of steroid use. He doubled down on his belief that steroids were not just a valid option, but a necessary tool for anyone serious about bodybuilding. This stance only fueled the feud further, with both Togi and Greg continuing to exchange barbs online, each rallying their own supporters in what became one of the most talked about disputes in the fitness world. The controversy only amplified Togi's profile, solidifying his reputation as a polarizing, yet undeniably influential figure in the industry. Togi's approach was clear. He wasn't interested in playing it safe or catering to the critics. He was carving out his own path, one that was as controversial as it was influential. Whether you agreed with him or not, there was no denying that Togi had become a major player in the fitness industry. His message was resonating with a large and growing audience. His unapologetic stance only solidified his brand as someone who is fearless, bold, and unafraid to challenge the norms of the fitness world. As Togi's reputation in the fitness world grew, so did his opportunities to collaborate with other influencers. He quickly became a sought-after guest on podcasts and YouTube channels, where his controversial views on steroids often sparked intense debates. These collaborations were a turning point for Togi, allowing him to reach wider audiences and solidify his presence in the fitness community. He wasn't just another fitness influencer, he was becoming a voice that people couldn't ignore, whether they loved or hated what he had to say. During these guest appearances, Togi didn't hold back. He openly challenged the status quo, especially when it came to the taboo topic of steroid use. In many of these discussions, Togi would face off against natural fitness advocates, leading to heated exchanges that only fueled his growing notoriety. These debates weren't just about the pros and cons of steroids, they were about larger issues like authenticity in the fitness industry and the lengths people are willing to go to achieve their goals. Togi's willingness to confront these topics head-on, often with a mix of humor and blunt honesty, made him a polarizing figure but also drew more followers who appreciated his candor. As Togi's influence expanded, he became more than just a controversial figure. He became a fixture in the steroid scene. People who were already a part of that world saw him as someone who was putting their experiences into the spotlight, while others who were curious about steroids found in Togi a guide who was brutally honest about both the benefits and the risks. This role brought him a lot of admiration from those who felt that the fitness industry needed more transparency, but it also attracted criticism from those who believed he was promoting dangerous practices. Togi's rise in the steroid scene wasn't just about his own use, it was about the conversations he was starting. He made people talk about steroids in a way that hadn't been done before, openly, without the usual stigmas or hush-hush attitudes. Whether you were for or against what he was saying, there was no denying that Togi had become a key player in this world, influencing not just his followers, but also the broader discourse around performance-enhancing drugs in fitness. His journey from a regular gym goer to a major influencer in the steroid scene is a testament to how quickly and dramatically the fitness industry can shift when someone is willing to push the boundaries and challenge the norms. As Togi's influence in the fitness industry grew, so did the chaotic elements of his brand. What started as a focus on bodybuilding and fitness began to evolve into something far more unpredictable. Togi, never one to shy away from controversy, started incorporating gambling content into his social media presence. At first glance, it seemed like a strange pivot for someone who had built a following on lifting weights and fitness advice. But for Togi, this was just another way to keep his audience engaged, to show them a different side of himself that was raw, unfiltered, and in many ways, chaotic. The gambling content resonated with many of his followers, especially those who were drawn to the thrill of high-stakes bets and the adrenaline rush that comes with risking it all. Togi's foray into gambling wasn't just about placing bets, it was about the lifestyle that came with it. He shared stories of big wins, crushing losses, and the emotional roller coaster that tied it all together. His followers were hooked, not just on the fitness tips, but on the unpredictability of what Togi would do next. He wasn't just a bodybuilder, he was becoming an all-around entertainer, someone who lived life on the edge and invited his audience to join him on that wild ride. However, as Togi's brand expanded to include these vices, the impact on his public image was significant. The fitness community, known for its emphasis on discipline, health, and an often clean lifestyle, began to view Togi with a mix of fascination and concern. His openness about using steroids had already set him apart, but now, with gambling and hints of other vices creeping into his content, Togi was becoming a figure of controversy. Some admired his honesty and his refusal to conform to the squeaky clean image that many fitness influencers strive to maintain, but others saw him as reckless, someone who was potentially leading his young and impressionable audience down a dangerous path. The impact of these vices on Togi's brand was twofold. On one hand, they made him more relatable to a segment of his audience who saw him as a real person with real flaws, not just another fitness model showing off his abs. On the other hand, they alienated a portion of the fitness community who felt that Togi was promoting unhealthy behaviors that could have serious consequences. The tension between these two perceptions of Togi only added to his allure. He was a man who didn't fit neatly into any box, and that made him all the more intriguing. The chaos of Togi's brand reached its peak when he went viral after a photo with Larry Wheels, one of the biggest names in the fitness world. The photo, which showcased Togi's dramatically enhanced physique, spread like wildfire across social media. Overnight, Togi became a household name in the fitness community, but with that viral fame came a wave of changing perceptions. People who had once dismissed him as just another fitness influencer began to take notice, not just of his muscles, but of the person behind the image. Togi's viral success was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it solidified his status as one of the biggest modern fitness creators, someone who had successfully built a brand that was impossible to ignore. On the other hand, it also brought even more scrutiny. The discussions about his steroid use, his gambling habits, and the overall direction of his brand became more intense. Some people saw him as a trailblazer, someone who was unapologetically living his truth and pushing the boundaries of what it meant to be a fitness influencer. Others saw him as a cautionary tale, a man who had let fame and vices take control of his life. As of now, Togi stands as one of the most polarizing figures in the fitness industry. His journey from a passionate bodybuilder to a chaotic, controversial influencer is a testament to how quickly things can change in the world of social media. Whether you love or hate him, there is no denying that Togi has left an indelible mark on the fitness community. His story is still unfolding, and with every new post, every new controversy, he continues to captivate an audience that's eager to see what he'll do next. Will he continue to ride the wave of controversy to even greater heights, or will the chaos eventually catch up to him? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Togi is far from finished. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.